This is Valley News Live at 6.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Nishay Taylor. We've already been through our first round of snow for the season, and hundreds of residents in southeastern North Dakota are still without power. Dakota Valley Electric Cooperative is reporting as of this afternoon, more than 400 customers are still without power in multiple counties, including Dickey, Richland, and Sargent. Crews say part of the issue is that some power poles are covered with at least 4 inches of ice. Crew members from other power companies are also lending a hand to help get people's power back on.
If we had something happen like this in our area, I'd hope that all these guys would come out and help us too. So I think it feels great to be out here and helping these guys.
Well, DVEC says it could take a few days before the power is fully restored. While the snow has stopped falling, but Bismarck is still dealing with the effects from this storm. During this week's blizzard, 17 inches fell just in one day, a new record for a single day in November for Bismarck, according to the National Weather Service. But the city got 2 feet of snow in total. A spokesperson with the city says snow gates on its plows are not working because of the amount of snow that has fallen. So plows are forced to have to pass through those streets twice. Well, comedian Bert Creatures made it out of North Dakota after getting caught in this week's blizzard. His tour bus got stuck in the snow on Thursday in Bismarck. Bert documented his time stuck in the snow on TikTok. The videos have since gone viral, showing Bismarck residents helping him out of the snow as the bus was getting dug out. Well, according to FlightAware, a data tracking company, 5 flights in and out of Hector International are delayed as of this afternoon, and 2 flights have been also delayed at Grand Forks Airport. At Minot International, 3 flights were also delayed, but check with your airline for the latest up-to-date information. But could more snow be in our forecast for the future? Jim's here now to possibly share those details. Hey, Jim.
Hey, Nishay, that's right. We could have some more snow this week. Nothing like we saw earlier, but we could see another dusting here just near Otterberry Farm, near Perham, just like that llama is enjoying. And those temperatures right now are really the big story. We're going to see these colder temperatures sticking around for quite a while. So right now we're seeing most people sitting in the teens, though down in Lakes Country and points east are seeing temperatures slightly warmer. Baudette there at 25 and Brainerd at 27. But out west, Bismarck sitting at -2 degrees right now, and those wind chills are becoming an issue. Bismarck there at -15, Langdon at 6, and Devil's Lake at 4 degrees. And we're watching some flurries in this area near between Grand Forks and Fargo, right near where the radar is. So because things are closer, it can pick up those flurries a little bit better. Now we're going to see these temperatures stay in the teens and even dip down into the single digits overnight. And I'll have more information about how long these chilly temperatures are going to stick around.
Yeah, it's amazing how that wind chill can really make a difference.
Oh, big time, yep.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much, Jim. President Joe Biden delivered remarks at the Association of Southeast Asian Nations Summit in Cambodia today. The president spoke to the launch of a new strategic partnership with ASEAN. President Biden said the U.S. would provide some financial assistance for the new partnership, outlining $250 million in investments already provided and an additional $850 million request to Congress for assistance in Southeast Asia. Democrats are now just 1 seat away from controlling the Senate following a major victory in Arizona. Now all eyes are on Nevada's vote count as Georgia prepares for a runoff next month. Here's the latest.
Democrats are now on the verge of controlling the Senate with a big win in the Grand Canyon state. Democratic incumbent Senator Mark Kelly of Arizona is projected to win re-election, beating out Republican Blake Masters, who has yet to concede.
While we face serious challenges, we also know that when we come together and focus on solutions, we can make progress.
Democrats are also making progress in Arizona's race for governor. Democrat Katie Hobbs is leading Republican Carrie Lake. The race is still too close to call. Election officials in Maricopa, Arizona's most populous county, responding to Republican accusations that the vote count is taking too long.
When we look back in the history books here, over the past couple of decades, on average, it takes 10 to 12 days to complete the count.
Meanwhile, in Nevada, Democratic Senator Catherine Cortez Masto is closing in on Republican Adam Laxalt, and the results could ultimately determine the balance of power in the Senate. Ballots are still being counted there, too.
Our ultimate effort to always try and be as transparent as we possibly can.
To the south, in Georgia, the Senate race between Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock and Republican Herschel Walker is heading to a December 6th runoff. It's another crucial race Senate Democrats are hoping to win. I'm Gloria Pasmino reporting.
Well, if it's a close election, it could be common that the losing candidate would ask for a recount. But according to a new analysis by the nonprofit Fair Vote, counted nearly 6,300 statewide elections since the year 2000, and recounts reversed the outcome of exactly 3 of those races. That's 1 out of every 2,099 state elections. Fair Vote recommends not even bothering with a recount unless a race is within 1/10 of a point margin. But they say in this age, candidates likely won't concede defeat.
Lately, we've seen more of what I call frivolous recounts, when the margin is more than 10 points between the top 2 candidates and a campaign or a candidate pays for a recount. That can undermine voters' faith in elections.
Well, experts say recounts are great for validating close elections, and they often find a handful of uncounted votes for both the winner and the loser. Former President Donald Trump is suing the House committee investigating the January 6th riot. Trump made the move yesterday, arguing that the committee subpoena is seeking his testimony and documents tied to the Capitol attack was invalid. This is Trump's first official indication that he does not intend to participate in the deposition, which is scheduled for on Monday. The former president was subpoenaed by the House January 6th committee last month for any communications he may have had regarding extremist groups involved in the riot. Alec Baldwin is suing members of the Rust film crew in an effort to, quote, clear his name after last year's fatal on-set shooting. The cross complaint Baldwin filed yesterday blames 3 crew members and the man who supplied ammunition to the set for the death of the film's cinematographer. The suit says Baldwin relied on all 4 to do their jobs and that Hutchinson's death was a result of their negligence. 2 recalls you need to know. That's later on Valley News Live at 6.
We're quite a bit below our average high for the year, which is at 40. We hit 19 as our high, and this trend of below or well below average temperatures is going to stick around, in addition to some additional snow coming next week, and I'll have more details with that next.